Greetings, Parkway friends. Welcome to my new COVID-19 office. Beautiful, but it's very different. Like so many things in this world, they become very different. We've had a beautiful spring. It's been absolutely amazing, but it's different. We're not able to go to the places we're used to go and do the things we're used to doing. And such is the same for Parkway. Things continue to be very beautiful, but very different. I'm coming to you now to give you just kind of a quick leadership recap, serving a kind of a video format for the usual annual report. Just from a recap perspective, it seems like it's been 2 different years in the same year. First part of the year, very much focused to live into the work of the Vitality Initiative that we've engaged in over the last couple of years. New leadership structure, new ways of doing things. We have a team of folks working on rewriting bylaws, and their work continues, but very much operating in a way that is totally unlike what we're operating in now. COVID-19 came along, and it required all of us to adapt and adjust to do things very differently. In this journey, I would like to thank, as I served as council president, I'd really like to thank Brad Lyons and Jack Sieber, who along with me are concluding their council terms. Thank also other members of the council, Linda Tossing, Tom McKenzie, Ingrid Scharf, and Mike Rutherford. They've been very helpful, supportive, and I really appreciated their advice and counsel. It's made my job as council president very rewarding and much easier because of all of their efforts. Involved in many different things in the year that have shifted in the months as we've moved into the COVID space. Our staff has been absolutely amazing, particularly when you look at the most visible part of it, the worship services. Our worship experiences have been absolutely beautiful, very engaging, very spiritually fulfilling, although very different than what we're used to. In particular, I'd like to call out Pastor Kevin and Barry Luedloff and Barb Kuhlmann for making sure worship and experiences with children have been great during this time. On Sunday mornings and throughout the week, it's been a joy to be part of their efforts and to experience that. And it's been a really good, strong demonstration of just how vital we are as a congregation through their efforts. Behind the scenes, Mona and Susan have kept things moving along with Kathy Farrell, who's our newest staff member. Rich Race has joined them, is kind of continuing as our volunteer treasurer, a new role that he continued even when his time on council was over. Very important and very helpful there. Also, people have been doing very different things. We've seen the creativity and people willing to put on different hats and perform and do things that are totally unexpected. If you haven't seen it already, go back and look at worship a couple of weeks ago. In particular, look at Mona's performance. Her musical talents are amazing, absolutely beautiful, but very different than the role we usually see her in. And I think that's a good. We've seen that from everybody, but I thought that was particularly striking. Congregation's done a nice job of stepping up in terms of contributions and keeping things moving from that perspective, and I encourage all of you to keep doing that. Our biggest tenant, Miriam Academy, is in the process now of moving out after 4 years with us. That will potentially create some financial challenges for us, so it's important that we all continue to be diligent. We have a team of folks that have been working for over a year, Rich Race, Joyce Ruiz, and Paul Rosler, focused on real estate, management of tenants, relationships with tenants, and they've engaged a real estate agent to help us market our space for new tenants. And we've had interest, but not quite there yet, still more to do. Year ahead will continue to be one of adaptation, change, adjusting. Just like the last year, we've done a lot of things we never imagined we would be doing. The year ahead is likely to be more of that. I want to again thank the whole council, pastor, staff, everyone who's adapted so well to a new world, to meeting by Zoom instead of in front of each other in a room. It's worked perfectly fine. In particular, again, I'd like to thank the efforts, vision, guidance, grace, prayerful nudging and cajoling of Pastor Kevin, helping us to all keep focused as we move forward. Some of you may know, talking about things being beautiful and different. Roseanne and I have a new granddaughter, Audrey, born a week ago. Well, now we need to find a way to get ourselves to Seattle before too long and see her. I wish all of you grace, peace, health in the months ahead. God bless.
Hello, Parkway family. This is the Vitality Report at Parkway UCC. The history of the Vitality Project at Parkway can date back to 2015, when discussions were held about John Dorhauer's book, Beyond Resistance, the Institutional Church Meets the Postmodern World. The following years led to a program guided by Dr. John Wimberly, who was our consultant for 2 years. Through 5 goals set by a significant number of participants in the congregation, the Vitality team took those 5 goals and organized them into ministries with teams. And I have an audio visual, but it's available on request. Each one of these columns is basically one of the 5 different goals. Each ministry has a contact as well as each team under that ministry. We hope that person would serve as not a leader, but a facilitator. In addition, 3 members of the council would be attached to one of the 4 goals involving members. The council completes the leadership goal, incorporating all the remaining commissions. After our first year, many of the ministry contacts and team contacts will continue in their roles, and we're so grateful for their experience. Council will contact the few people who will not continue in their current roles to request replacement suggestions. Many of the ministries have continued during the coronavirus, keeping contact with members in care or alone. Although personal visits have not been allowed, we've continued to make phone calls and send cards. The next step as we move back into the evolving coronavirus time will be hold another job fair to involve new members or others who have not been able to sign up the first time. Vitality has made many changes for the better in our church, and you'll hear more from the bylaws team soon as they wrap up their work. Blessings to you all, and a positive these changes will continue even after the challenge we've been experiencing these last months. Blessings to our church family.
Hi, I'm Mike Rutherford, the representative on the Church Council for Inclusive Community Ministries. The ministry is made up of member outreach, fellowship, Sunday hospitality, building and support, community renters. This year being Parkway's first year with the Vitality Team concept, we have fared well with the involvement of many members. The concept of Vitality Ministries is a learning experience for Parkway and will continue to evolve as we become more comfortable with this structure. COVID-19 has limited some activities for many ministries, but has allowed other ministries to provide aid to members and the community. From our membership outreach ministry, coached by Carol Cobb, Visitor Care has been keeping track of member attendance, whether in church or online. Birthday cards are being sent to adult members. Thinking of You cards are being sent to members facing health issues. Cards have been sent to new members. Shut-ins are being sent cards and are receiving phone calls. Card care and coffee have not been able to meet, as well as flowers not being sent to shut-ins since the virus. No funerals or weddings since the virus. Fellowship Ministries, coached by Peggy Mole. Many activities were successfully carried out prior to the virus. Apple Butter, AWOL, Not Just for Men, Bridge Group, Friendship Dinner, and others. Church Picnic, Mother's Day Brunch, and others had to be canceled. Church directories were distributed to 87 members, as well as 90 additional directories for the church pews and future members. Sunday Hospitality, coached by Michelle Singer. Sunday Morning Coffee, Pastridge cleanup, and was functioning well, but could always use additional volunteers. Building Support Ministries, coached by Mike Rogers. This group has worked on consolidating the purchase and storage of supplies. They also coordinate volunteers for the various church activities and tasks such as the sound system, setting up for gatherings, cleanup, as well as other church in-house activities. This ministry can also use additional volunteers to make events successful. Community renters. The virus has limited the use of the church facilities. AA and the Children's Choir have been using the facilities, with the rest of the organizations not being able to meet in a safe manner. Thank you.
Hello, Parkway family. Hard to believe we're doing a video for our annual report. It shows we're willing to think out of the box, which is exactly what the Vitality Project proposed for all our activities. I have served on the ministry contact for membership outreach ministries for this year. One of the goals of the new initiative was to improve the inclusive community. In reaching that goal, we split membership care, which had 5 members on a commission, into 2 separate ministries, one for outreach and another for fellowship. Peggy Bull has been the wonderful ministry contact for that. With member outreach, we have focused on 7 areas: visitor care, current member care, flowers for shut-ins, funeral support, new members, shut-in care, and wedding coordinator. Those 7 groups involved almost 20 team members. We thank Bart Coleman for monitoring visitors, Betty Shearer for being contact for funerals, Jackie Eford for new members, and Jean Mueller for shut-in care. Chris McKenzie was wedding coordinator. I have been the contact for member care, which sends birthday, thinking of you cards, and anniversary cards. All these team contacts have agreed to continue for the next year. In regard to thinking out of the box, Laura Waite a team member on the care team, came up with the idea of different members gathering once a month and write cards and catch up on members who needed extra care. This year, we met at Daily Bread in Des Peres. It was really fun, and we hope after the virus threat passes, we can continue. In addition, the card team has continued writing cards through the coronavirus era. So being able to involve more people in member care, we have met one of the goals the congregation set of a more inclusive community. I hope this finds you all well, and Harold and I miss our church family. Blessings all around, and stay safe.
Hi, my name is Ingrid Scharf, and I am the Church Council Liaison to the Spiritual Nourishment Ministries. Among these ministries is the Spiritual Care Ministry led by Kevin Cameron, which handles Adult Ed, our speaker series, Bible study, centering prayer, prayer corner, and Tuesday evening dialogue. Our music ministry is led by Barry Luedloff and handles First Sunday Choir, Children's Choir, Chancel Choir, and our intergenerational hand chimes. The Sunday Spiritual Ministry is led by Dottie Dwyer and oversees communion, lay readers, greeters, safety monitors, and ushers. Dottie reports that, since services are now online, the teams have been mostly inactive. Our Sanctuary Care Committee is led by Chris McKenzie and oversees our candles, sanctuary decor during Easter and Christmas, flowers, sanctuary banners, our yearly harvest decor, as well as our pew cards. Chris reports there has been a noticeable lack of interest recently as far as flower donations are concerned. In the past, we have not had enough volunteers willing to act as pew caregivers, and this is something that we will need to evaluate when in-person service resumes. Chris also feels that our current alternative worship atmosphere may move us closer to wanting one or more large screens in our sanctuary. The Children's Sunday Ministry is led by Karen Nolte and oversees Book Sunday, the Christmas pageant, our nursery staff, Sunday school, and Sunday youth teachers. Children and youth currently meet every Sunday after children's time, and if you are able to lead an online class with either group, please let me know. Our worship planning ministry is led by Marcia Peak, and Marcia provided this statement. We presently have 4 worship planning teams, which consist of Advent, Christmas, Epiphany, Lent, Easter, Summer, and Fifth Sundays. The teams are made up of the pastor, music director, and anyone interested in helping to plan worship. We meet approximately 2 times prior to the assigned worship season to look at the lectionary readings and then discuss possible themes, songs, and creative ways to present the scripture and theme. Then the members of the team assist the pastor and music director as needed. Sometimes a one-and-done team is pulled together for a specific Sunday, such as Worldwide Communion Sunday, Reformation Sunday, Pentecost Sunday, or Youth Sunday. Since we have been worshiping online through live streaming and YouTube, our amazing staff has been planning and implementing creative and exciting ways to provide worship during COVID pandemic. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As the next steps during this difficult time, Parkway UCC will continue to provide meaningful worship experiences for our congregation and for others who are tuning in, as well as providing a safe environment in our sanctuary whenever we will be back together again. If you would like to be part of future worship planning for a future planning team for 2020 and 2021, or have creative ideas for worship, or would like to participate in some way during our online worship service, please contact Pastor Kevin or myself, Marcia Peak. If you have any questions about the Spiritual Nourishment Ministries, please feel free to reach out to any of the contacts I have just mentioned or to myself directly. And to everyone who helps out with the Spiritual Nourishment Ministries, thank you so much for your assistance. You are appreciated. Thank you.
Hi everyone, this is Barb Kuhlmann. I got to thinking that maybe many of you have not ever been in our nursery or our Sunday school rooms, so I just thought I'd show you a little bit. We have 2 wonderful nursery attendants, Julie and Emma, and they take care of our little ones on Sunday mornings. This is our Pathways of Faith Sunday school room, and I love these bulletins. The kids created these. This is from the summer. We did a study on the Lord's Prayer, and the kids made the disciples and the table and the stained glass. So last summer we had Mad Camp, which is our vacation Bible school, and we did the musical It's Cool in the Furnace, and it's about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were thrown into the furnace and God protected them. So at the end of the week, we had the fire department, 2 trucks come, and they showed us in the trucks, and then they sprayed us. And it was such a fun week. In October, we hosted a trunk or treat. It was not a nice evening out, so we ended up putting the trunk decorations in the gathering area, and the kids paraded around. It was wonderful. The beginning of December, we had our journey to Bethlehem. Here's a little guy being greeted. We had all the characters of the walk to Bethlehem, and then we also had a petting zoo, and that was a big hit. Right before Christmas, our youth and children did the best Christmas pageant ever musical. For the decorations, our youth wrapped boxes, and then the kids got to decorate them, and they loved doing that. That was a lot of fun. We had Book Sunday, where all of our youth and children received books. So Easter came, and of course it was much different this year. I went on an Easter egg hunt, and the kids had to tell me with clues where to go for the next egg. We have been doing Zoom Sunday school for youth and the children every Sunday. We also have been providing a time for them to all get together during the week. And you know what? Parkway's education is alive and well here. Wish you all a safe time and I hope to see you soon.
Hello, this is the forested choir director. We're out in the wilderness of the suburbs looking for those elusive things called singers. It's been rough. I know they're here. One time I even saw a tenor, but it was too high and fast for me. We're looking for all four of the types of singers right now: soprano, alto, tenor, and that ever elusive bass. There may not be much hope. We're not lost yet, but the sun's going down. There's not much time left, and if we don't find singers soon, I'm not sure what we're gonna do. If you see a singer, let me know. It's important that we find as many as we can. What's that? What is it? I saw it. My faithful companion, choir dog, may be on the trail. We've got to go. Wish us luck.
I have my mac and cheese and my Cheerios and my diapers and my pregnancy tests, all kinds of things that people have dropped off here at church to bring to Circle of Concern or Isaiah 58. Even though people are feeling the pressure of the lockdown and maybe wondering about what's going to happen to them, people here are still concerned about people who are hungry and thirsty and in need, not only of these tangible items, but in need of knowing that somebody has remembered them and loves them and cherishes them and wants the best for them. So loading up the trunk so that I can get down to Circle of Concern and drop off these items. And just wanted to thank you for all the ways that you are people of generosity and for the ways that you remember God's people who need a little bit more support, a little bit more love, a little bit more of your care. I want to talk to you for a second about courageous mission and community activities that we've been engaged in this year. I'm sitting here in the hallway by the cause wall, which has our interfaith poster and has our science is real, love is love, kindness is everything, Black Lives Matter sign, and our rainbow flag to remind us about all of the people that we want to make sure to have at the table and to have in conversation with us about how we can be faithful to each other. And so we've been involved again this year in some Jesus Has Left the Building events and some intertwined interfaith, including our new Facebook page. We've been talking about sustaining ourselves with spiritual sustenance with our partners from other faith traditions. We've been engaged in all kinds of ways, being a part of the community. We have our sign out front that we often put out some words of wisdom and words of encouragement and words of challenge. Sometimes the sign pops so that we can have good conversations with people. Sometimes we just want to reach out to tell people that they're loved and they're cherished. And so we continue to have our eyes on courageous mission and limitless love and spirited inquiry as we ask ourselves questions, as we understand that we don't know everything, as we seek to walk a mile in one another's moccasins, as we seek to look through one another's eyes, to see things differently, as we look into each other's eyes so that we can tell people that they matter, that we are with them, just as the Holy tells us that we're never alone. Just like the Holy tells us in coming to earth to be Jesus, Emmanuel, God with us, the Spirit can help us to do these things. The Spirit nourishes us and nudges us and pulls us along even when we're tired or afraid or unsure. The Spirit nudges us, pulls us, pushes us along to be in relationship with each other and to serve one another and to receive from one another and together to be the people of God.
Hi, this is Polly Winkelmann, and I'm co-chair of the Parkway Sustainability Seekers. Our church year got off to an exciting start with our first interfaith event. In August, we helped coordinate a showing and discussion of the movie Paris to Pittsburgh at Congregation Share Emmeth. The event was well attended, and our visiting popcorn machine was a hit. We also wrapped up one of our very first projects when we put funds remaining from our dishwasher and mug campaign towards the purchase of visitor mugs for Parkway. We assisted the Property Commission this year in setting up energy use benchmarking. This information that they've gathered is being used to reduce energy costs and guide future purchasing decisions. An example of a recent purchase is they just replaced all of the main sanctuary lights with LED. In the fall, the Sustainability Seekers sponsored a nature hike along the Merrimack. We had just published an article on the health benefits of being out in nature, not realizing how soon that would be the only means of exercise for much of the St. Louis area. After the church switched from Meridian to Republic trash recycling last winter, we invited the staff and groups that use our building to an educational presentation that Republic did for us on recycling policies. The new year also saw us begin a new ongoing project with Gateway O&A. We are collecting plastic caps, which they then send to make rainbow benches at a recycling facility in Indiana. Gateway O&A's goal is to eventually give a bench to every O&A congregation in the St. Louis area. Many of our April Earth Day plans were put on hold, but our group, along with the UCC and Interfaith Power and Light, all encourage tree planting, both individually and as donations to organizations like the Arbor Day Foundation. Members were also encouraged to watch the film The Human Element, which we had planned to do as an adult education opportunity. Since our inception 4 years ago, a large part of our mission has been to share information on how we can be faithful stewards of God's creation. We regularly publicize electronic and other recycling events, and we will continue to try to keep everyone in the loop on opportunities for education and advocacy.
Hello, Parkway and friends. I'm Brad Lyons, the council representative who has been focusing on communications over the last few years. Our communication efforts didn't change much during the first 3 quarters of the programming year. Mona and Kevin continue to provide clear, abundant information about our ministries and events through our normal email, social media, and signage channels. Tom McKenzie continues to see the marquee sign out front. Stephanie Polster continues to provide updates for a variety of online community calendars. We continue to work on our IT needs and trying to identify a contractor who can serve our needs at a reasonable price. In November, a dozen of us gathered to talk about the website, which has been online for a little more than a year, and that resulted in several improvements and adjustments. But beyond that, not much was happening on the communications front that didn't involve staff and a few members of the congregation. Then came COVID. When we suspended in-person worship in March, we quickly decided to live stream worship, live in front of not a studio audience. Having no previous experience in live streaming worship, much of it was made up on the fly. Early efforts involved simple things like using my iPhone on a tripod and Facebook Live. And that's it. We had the tripod sitting 6 feet in front of the pulpit most of the time. It's pretty rudimentary, but it got the job done. A typical worship service was having between 65 and 70 viewers, so we were estimating that's about 100 people watching live. Not too bad. We also know that many members of our congregation who had moved out of the area were joining us online. Worship has evolved into a mix of live stream and pre-recorded worship. Kudos to Pastor Kevin, Barry Luedloff, Marcia Peak, Emma Landowski, and others who have led worship in front of an empty sanctuary. Thanks also to Tim Wyman, who has been recording and editing the worship services that have been recorded online. For our kids and youth, Sunday school went online too. Huge props go to the online Christian Ed team. Barb Kuhlmann and Ingrid Scharf have been leading live classes for the younger set, while Cindy Wessel and Amy Yackel have worked with the youth. Social media has grown increasingly useful, and we're seeing more engagement. It has helped us keep connected in ways we probably never anticipated, and we will likely continue to utilize social media after we resume meeting in person. We do need help, volunteers for folks who want to help us maintain our social media platforms. So please contact Mona if you'd be interested in pitching in on that effort. Midweek events continue to keep us online, and we're going to be online the rest of the summer. That's going to include worship. So if you'd like to help lead in that, or if you'd like to help do Christian education for the kids, please contact Barb. Vacation Bible School will also be conducted online this summer. So contact Barb if you want to help out with that, and be sure to put that process on your prayer list. It's going to be an interesting experience. Once COVID is abated and we can begin worshiping again together, changes will be needed if we want to continue to worship live stream as we've been doing. And we would need to invest in quality equipment and probably a person to manage it. Recording worship may be easier technologically, but it will require more of our staff, especially the ministerial staff. So we need to contemplate that moving forward. We have a lot of potential to grow our communications footprint. So if you're interested in helping out, contact church leadership. Thanks for watching.
Good morning. I am Linda Tossing, a member of the Parkway United Church of Christ Council, and currently hold the position of Finance Coordinator. I am honored to work with the following teams. The Finance team consisting of the Treasurer, Rich Race, the Finance Administrator, Susan Thompson, and the Stewardship Commission Convener, Amy Yackel. Also, I have worked with the 2019 Audit Team, Kim and Ross Livengood and Jackie Effort. And then the Stewardship Commission, Amy Yackel, Harold Cobb, Phil Waite, Tom Maxeiner, and Ellie Swenson. Our current financial status is cautiously optimistic. The congregation continues to monetarily support the church in this shutdown time. Our income is currently 14.6% over budget, and we have been blessed with some significant contributions which have made up the difference. Across the board, our expenses are 8.6% below budget. However, this will change once we reopen. Our investments have taken a hit but are slowly improving. The Council has decided to hold off any withdrawals from these funds until there is significant improvement. An example is the Property Commission had some important work done on the Historical Sanctuary building. These expenses would normally be pulled from the Historical Sanctuary Fund, but which resides in our investment fund account. Instead, the Council agreed to pull the expenses from the building fund and replace those expenses once the investments improve. Our valued treasurer, Rich Race, continues to support Parkway and works closely with the Parkway Financial Administrator, Susan Thompson. He monitors these expenses and the other areas such as the Miriam contract and its impact on our budget. Please note, if there is no renter to replace Miriam after June, our income will be negatively impacted. Based on current income projections, we may need to start using the Council Discretionary Fund to make up the deficit in October. The team to find a renter is actively working on the situation. Thank you, Rich, for your continued support. The audit team has completed the 2019 financial audit. Their findings are as follows. We have audited the records and the financial reports of Parkway United Church of Christ for the fiscal and calendar year of 2019. While our audit was limited to testing the transactions and balances and would not necessarily disclose all errors, we found no evidence of significant errors or omissions. In our opinion, the financial reports mentioned are fairly stated. The audit team is preparing the recommendations to further improve the current financial protocols. Thank you to Kim, Ross, and Jackie for your time and effort in this important work. The Stewardship Commission has had a challenge this past fall of 2019 in preparing the 2020 pledge program and 2020 budget. Through their efforts, they were able to increase the pledge commitments and worked to reduce the budget deficit. Thank you to Amy, Harold, Phil, Tom, and Ellie. And Amy continues to monitor the pledge activity and the budget. As indicated, It takes a lot of time and effort to support the financial side of Parkway UCC. Again, thank you to all who support Parkway United Church of Christ with your financial contributions and your time and your efforts. Blessings, Linda.
Hello, this is Mike Mason sharing the annual report for Property Commission for Parkway United Church of Christ 2019 through 2020. To begin with, I would like to thank the volunteers that are part of the Property Commission. Huge thanks goes out to Jack Sieber, Roger Faust, Ben McDougall, Kent Talon, Brad Brueggemann, Mike Rogers, and Mike Rutherford. We are also very grateful, could not have done it without the efforts and help and ideas of our staff. Thank you, Mona, Susan, Kathy, Barry, Barb, and of course, Kevin. Thank you to fellow congregants who have pitched in to solve problems and implement solutions. None of this could have been done without you. Thank you very much. The role of property is to preserve and protect the function and value of our facilities. We wish to provide an environment that is comfortable and welcoming to congregants, tenants, guests, and visitors. We prioritize projects with these factors in mind, as well as considerations for risk management. Part of our care is to plan ahead. We need to anticipate future uses of property, plan maintenance, and end of equipment life. We strategize to research ways to reduce expenses. One of the successes that we've had is to collaborate with our vendors. Roger has an excellent story and evidence by collaborating with Paul Horseman's Lawn Service. Working with Paul, Roger learned that he has employees that at the end of the season, before they go home, are looking for work. Roger got a great deal in transitioning what was a playground that was past its prime into lawn. Paul is a good friend of Parkway because he's also replaced the curbing in our parking lot. So we're working on relationships like that. Another project that we tackled was refreshing the old sanctuary. With this project, we had the interior painted and we selected a color to let the windows pop and tell their story. We carpeted the sanctuary space with fresh, clean carpeting. We remodeled the bathrooms with modern fixtures and sensors to save energy. We emptied areas from items that congested them, including the balcony. We switched the exterior lighting and some of the interior lighting over to LED to enhance safety and conserve energy. We added a sidewalk out the back door so St. Louis Children's Choir could exit more safely. The projects that happened on an ongoing basis were working with an electrician so that we enhanced Miriam's experience so that breakers didn't trip so often. We removed trees. We battled poison oak. Jack and I took home souvenirs that lasted way too long. We installed the Punts Memorial, corrected the sink off of the gathering space, contracted to bring our sprinkler system into compliance, more analyzed than really had success in correcting it. We moved really heavy furniture, thank you Brad, trimmed brush, mulched the front flower beds, ensured the doors opened and closed with ease, replaced some lights with LEDs, corrected trim pieces, unclogged drains, and we even had those times when we had to take the plunge with the toilets, and we had plumbing corrected.
2019-2020 Program Year Report for the Ministry Planning and Review Committee for Pastor Kevin. I'm Bart Coleman, the leader of this committee. The MPR committee's primary function is to facilitate the development of the faithful and effective shared ministry by the pastorate of Parkway's lay leadership and the congregation. This committee consists of 4 members: Donna Engel, Sally Dissinger, John Dwyer, and myself. We are appointed to the committee by council and serve for a 4-year term. I'm happy to say that this year the committee didn't have much activity, which is very good considering the nature of the committee. If anyone would like to contact me pertaining to any of the activity that might fall under this committee, please contact me. Thank you.
I wanted to come over here to the historic sanctuary to share some words with you. I've been thinking a lot about our ancestors here and the ways in which they lived and the things that they lived through and the ways that they were committed to each other and to the faith. This is a piece I heard on NPR yesterday. It's by Clint Smith. It's called "When People Say We Have Made It Through Worse Before." All I hear is the wind slapping against the gravestones of those who did not make it, those who did not survive to see the confetti fall from the sky, those who did not live to watch the parade roll down the street. I have grown accustomed to a lifetime of aphorisms meant to assuage my fears, pithy sayings meant to convey that everything ends up fine in the end. There's no solace in rearranging language to make a different word tell the same lie. Sometimes the moral arc of the universe does not bend in the direction that will comfort us. Sometimes it bends in ways we don't expect, and there are people who fall off in the process. Please, dear reader, do not say I am hopeless. I believe there is a better future to fight for. I simply accept the possibility that I may not live to see it. I have grown weary of telling myself lies that I might one day begin to believe. We're not all left standing there after the war has ended. Some of us have become ghosts by the time the dust has settled. 1838, when this faith congregation was established 182 years ago, I think about those immigrant farmers coming here, about their language and their culture and how it was different, how they were homesick, how they had to assimilate, how they had to give up their language and some of their traditions while they held fast to some of their ways. I think about what they went through, the good and the bad, the wars, the World Fair here in St. Louis, the 1918 pandemic, maybe wearing masks to worship. I think about all the ups and downs of the human condition, from everything, birth to death. I think of baptisms and confirmations and weddings and funerals that happened in this space. I think of their rituals. I think of their sacraments. I think of their faithfulness that was sturdy and strong, but also was tested and also gave them pause. I like to think that they would be proud of us, that they would be pleased with us in the ways that we are continuing to love the earth with our sustainability seekers, the way that we are engaged in acts of inclusion and welcome, regardless of immigrant status and language and culture and tradition. I like to think that they would be proud of us, that we understand and remember what it's like to be people who are different, what it's like to be open to people who are of different faith traditions, even with our interfaith, intertwined mission and ministry and mystery and magic. I like to think that they would appreciate the way that we care for each other. I've heard from lots of people during this pandemic about how the church's reach to them, cards and letters and calls and emails, have really made the difference, reminding them that they're never alone. So we want to thank you for being the church. We want to thank our leaders who are transitioning off and our leaders who are stepping in to provide their faith and their imprint and their good humor and their care and their tenderness and their strength. A couple of days ago, we received a letter from our high school principal, Dr. H, and in it she talked about how this fall they would need to engage in deeper, ongoing, courageous conversations and action about building understanding with each other in a diverse community of a high school in the St. Louis area. So she posed a few questions that I really appreciate, and I think those are questions that we will want to ask with one another too. What are the different points of view so that we can build understanding? What is it like to be in another person's shoes that we might build empathy? What do I really know about whatever the issue is in front of me? What are the limits of my knowledge? Self-reflection. Good questions for us to be thinking about. I'm grateful to be in this with you. I'm honored that I serve here, and I look forward to what comes next, whatever that might be, and how we are together, and how we are Christ-like, how we are infused by the Holy Spirit, how we are the church, even now.